Here's how I went from MAGA to progressive liberal who voted Kamala Harris last election. What's my journey? Let's jump right into that. So let's start back. Let's go back 2016. I'm 15 years old, right? I'm in a small town in the Northeast, okay? And just like every kid, I've got a phone, I've got the internet, and what do I start doing? Not learning information, not bettering myself. Nope. I'm trolling blue-haired liberals on Twitter. Yes, that's right. I was advocating for Trump at 15 years old. I pivoted every right-wing talking point you could think of back then, that he loved America, that being a businessman is good for America, and we need someone who is an outsider to politics to make this country better because our politicians are failing us. I thought every person who was a liberal was a fucking lunatic. I thought they were a crazy commie who wanted to tear capitalism apart and wanted to ruin this country. I thought they were emotional, immature, and I just thought, that will never be me. And to some extent, I'm not exactly the archetype of a progressive liberal. I am 23, I'm white, I happen to be straight. I don't really fit the archetype for what I would consider liberal in this climate. Anyway, 2016, I couldn't vote because I was 15. So 2020 rolls around, and still, I'm pivoting the same talking points. I thought January 6th was a big bunch of baloney. I watched the propagandist videos, the one where they don't show them, pushing cops, punching cops, shooting people, all the behind-the-scenes footage that we now, of course, have major access to. I didn't read the J6 committee reports back then. I didn't even want to know about it. I pivoted the talking point that Donald Trump couldn't call in the National Guard because he needed Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to do it. I have no idea why I was thinking that. And so I voted Trump in 2020 because I thought 2016 to 2020 was great. Let's continue that trajectory. I thought the election denialism with the fake elector slates and the pressuring local judges and trying to find votes and flip votes in local pockets in blue states, I thought that was complete bullshit. And I probably kept that up until about 2022, maybe 2023. I went to college. Yes. Here, I know you're thinking, oh boy, I got liberalized at my communist university. Well, let me clear that correction up, okay? Let's get this straight. I majored in philosophy, okay? Right. I still thought I was a Trumper. I always thought that that's what I aligned with, right? And I started reading political philosophy. I took a bunch of political philosophy classes at my university, and I started reading all different types of ideology. So I read Robert Nozick with libertarianism. I read conservatism. I read Rawlsian. I read Marxism, socialism books, anything from left, center, left, centrist, right. I read fascistic political ideology. So I read every political philosophy you could think of. And it's like it all hit me that policy-wise, strictly speaking, policies that conservatives have been advocating for since, let's just start with Ronald Reagan at least. From the 80s till now, I'm talking economically speaking, right now, are just lies. And I think once you pull yourself out of that right-wing echo chamber where you just separate the culture war bullshit and you just objectively look at a policy comparison when it comes to conservative policy approach versus, I would say, democratic or even progressive liberal policies, and you start to wonder, why don't we have a public healthcare system in America? Why do we not have public university that is funded by tax dollars? Even though public schools in America are funded the same way we fund higher education in, a lot of other countries, Europe, for example. And you just can't ignore it anymore. Once you wake up from the culture war, you start realizing that the policies that the Republicans have been pushing for the last 40 years directly benefit the top 1%. Tax cuts for the 1% go to stock buybacks, which do not trickle down to the worker, right? That's fucking bullshit. Minimum wage has been federally $7.25 since 2000. I think it's 7 or 9. Don't quote me on that. What party does not advocate for raising the federal minimum wage and has shot down literally every policy? Conservatives. It's a fucking crime that the youth and so many fucking people have been just misled into believing that conservative policies do anything for the working class, or I should say anything other than benefit the fucking 1% of this country. Like, it's escaping that. That's like, it fucking wakes you up. Like, we're literally living through a fascist takeover. And for the most part, a lot of people just are silent about all this. I'm just no longer going to be silent about this. I think there needs to be people on the left who fucking call out what it is, who fucking say what's happening in Israel is a fucking genocide. That's it. I mean, I don't know why it's that hard for Democratic politicians to just fucking call it why. I mean, no, I know why. AIPAC and other fucking bullshit, but it's just 8% of the base supports Israel. Okay, right there. On and on and on. This video is getting convoluted. Guys, stick around, like, subscribe. I've got a lot to talk about. My journey is a long one. It was not an easy one. To go from a MAGA fucking fascist who absolutely loved the culture war and fucking hated trans people, thought that all the woke shit was fucking crazy and trans kids are the worst thing to ever happen to our country. It's all fucking fabricated. And yeah, goddamn, it was hard to it was hard to escape that mindset and that like fucking victim mentality. Here I am, a white straight male, believing that I'm somehow a victim of an oppressive immigration fucking takeover, or whatever the fuck that means. It's just not true. And so, if anyone is, I fucking doubt it. Most people who support Trump right now there will be nothing he could do for them to not support him anyway. But I was able to escape before I got, buried essentially into it. And I'm a survivor, and I want this channel to talk about politics. I think there's a lot of people from my age group, 23, who overwhelmingly supports Trump. I think they enjoy the fascist takeover. I think they are a lot more racist than, other people. And I think Trump appeals to that sort of vibe that maybe has been hidden, I guess. Like, I didn't know it was so outspoken. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's kind of my story. I got educated at college. I started reading political philosophy, and, through resilience and, nuanced political opinions, I was able to exactly see where I aligned with policy-wise and politically. And yeah, I am a progressive liberal, and I think that should be the way of the future. And I want to hopefully get more people on board with that sort of ideology and, make it so it's not so scared to talk about that. The ideas like free healthcare and free college are not just far off, dreams. They're actually attainable, and they're extremely easy to implement if we just have competent politicians and people who are willing to stand up for the working class and just say, this is what we need and this is what we want, and pass legislation. Anyway, easier said than done. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this first video. It's going to be a rough first take. I'm going to get better at this stuff. If you guys have any, questions, I'm going to go completely through my journey a lot more. This is just kind of the overview of the channel, giving you kind of like the full circle. But yeah, if you have any questions about my background, where I come from, what my specific policies are, I'm going to go through my complete position on a lot of the current policies, and I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to cover all the current events. We had we had Russia the other day, so I got a lot to do. So if you guys enjoyed this type of content, if you find yourself watching secular talk and other stuff, do come over to my channel and like, subscribe, comment. It means a lot to me, and I hope we can get this journey started and educate other people to wake up, because our country needs us, and fascism is here, and ignoring reality and putting your head in the fucking sand is not gonna make the midterms not rigged. So I believe in a free and fair election. I hope we can have that still, and I want to fight for the democracy. So yeah, it's time to wake up, America. Thank you. That's how I went from MAGA to a liberal. Hope you guys enjoy. Peace out. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.